right, good morning, everyone. I think we'll get started today. Welcome. My name is Rachel Besputa. I'm the Tri-State SARE Project Director. We are glad you're joining us today. This is actually our last webinar for 2021, and we look forward to continuing some webinars in 2022. I just want to go over a little bit of housekeeping. Today's webinar is being recorded. It will be posted on our website for further reference, and I encourage you to use your videos. Of course, just know that your image may be there in the recording following in the follow-up recording. I will mention that the breakout rooms are not being recorded, and so we really strongly encourage you to use your video during that time. It helps us connect a little bit more. In an effort to decrease any of the background noise we have, we would like to ask you to mute yourself while we are all together in our big group here, and also be sure to mute yourself when we are watching our video today as well. That will decrease that background noise and everybody will be able to hear. But we do strongly encourage you again to unmute yourself in those small breakout sessions. If you don't have a chat box pulled up on your screen yet, please do so now. That's how we will talk with each other today and communicate. You should, if it's not there, you should be able to hover down by the bottom right corner of your screen. There's a little icon there that says chat. If you click on it, it should populate, and you'll be able to see the chat box. We will also post the links for our pre and our post evaluations there as well. So make sure that if you cannot find that chat box, you reach out to Francis, whose contact information was in the email that we sent to you that include the link to get on today. Just a little bit of background information. This project is part of this webinar rather is part of the Tri-State SARE Professional Development Project. It's funded through the USDA and Northeast SARE, and it's actually a collaborative project among the universities of Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. This year, we're in our first year of a new 3-year grant, and we're really focusing our efforts on pasture management and infrastructure for sustainable livestock production. Today's webinar, we're focusing on assessing the grazing management of Bottle Farm, which is located in Ashford, Connecticut. We actually do not have any formal presentations today, so we are anticipating a very interactive webinar. We'll be viewing a video, and we'll also have time within breakout rooms. We'll have time to ask questions and provide feedback to farm owner Nick Weinstock, who is also on the line with us today. And we anticipate being able to assess and analyze Nick's farm and provide him with feedback and suggestions. In the email that you received, there was a link there to watch the video that we will be viewing today. It's certainly okay if you haven't, and great if you did. We will be showing it again. So for those folks who like to see things more than once, you have the opportunity to tune into that. And then also we did attach a property map of Bottle Farm. So it might be a good tool to use and reference throughout today's webinar. So maybe pull that up if you haven't already. And the breakout sessions, we'll have several today. We will move you in and out of them. So no need to worry about any of that. We'll do that automatically. As long as you stay connected, you'll be all set. As a quick reference, we are offering a certificate of participation this year. So for those who attended our grazing series earlier this year in the winter months and are attending today, you have earned that certificate. So we will be sending that out to you in the upcoming month or so. And at the moment, I'd like to just shift gears here a little bit and pass it over to Joe Bonelli, who is the Connecticut State SARE Coordinator. He's going to give us a little background on the grant opportunities that Northeast SARE provides.
Thank you, Rachel, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's program. We're looking forward to it as well. Just very quickly, Northeast SARE has a number of, I think, very important and useful and helpful grant programs that they're offering. Currently, the Farmer Grant Program is now open for application as of 10/1/21, and the final application is due on 11/16/21. You'll notice that the farmer grants are up to $30,000 now. And they basically use to test an idea or a concept, an idea on production and other types of concepts as well too. So that might be an option for funding some of your great ideas you have on your farm as well. Also want to highlight very quickly the partnership grants. That's the third one down on the screen. They're also up to $30,000 as well. And that basically is where an ag service provider can basically go in partnership, say, with another farmer, again, to look at an idea or concept in production, marketing of those kinds of things as well too. So both are up to $30,000, and again, might be helpful as you develop your farm enterprise as well. There are many other grant programs you can see there. Also, Northeast SARE has a wealth of informational guides and publications and resources, etc. So they have a lot of data in terms of publications. And they also post online all the prior grant programs as well, farmer grants, partnership grants, etc. as well too. So you might be able to get some ideas for a project you want to have funded, or just look at other research that's been done as well too. And I think you might find some of the information very, very helpful as you develop your farm operation. So without further ado, I'll turn it back over to you, Rachel.
All right, thanks, Joe. I think at this point, what we'll do is we'll switch again to our chat box, and you'll see that we have posted our evaluation link for our pre-webinar questions. So if you could go ahead and click on that link, it should take you to a series of questions. You can scroll down to the bottom after answering them and click on the send button. It should be green. I'll give everybody a few minutes to do that now. Looks like
for some reason it's taking us to the August 11th one.
Yep. Hold on just a minute. I apologize. Maybe what I have to do is, it shouldn't be doing that, but you know, technology. Let's see. Okay, let's give this one a try. I'll post it now. My apologies again, everybody. And certainly let me know if that's not working. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. I'll give everybody a minute to do that now. All right, so if we haven't had the chance to do that, I will certainly make sure that we get the link sent out to you all so that we can do that after the webinar, worst case scenario. I would like to keep moving forward just so we don't lose too much time here. I'd like to introduce our host farmer today, who is Nick Weinstock from Bottle Farm in Ashford, Connecticut. Nick grew up in New Jersey and attended Michigan State University, graduating with a construction management degree in 2009. He originally intended to take over the family's construction company as a general contractor and supervisor for commercial office space fit-outs. In his spare time, Nick began interning in 2013 on a sustainable livestock farm in New Jersey, gaining invaluable knowledge about managing animals on pasture. In 2015, Bottle Farm was officially established in New Jersey, and in 2016, moved to an overgrown fallow 41-acre parcel of land in Ashford, Connecticut. In 2017, Nick quit his construction management job and became a full-time farmer. As a first-generation farmer, Nick is hoping to balance innovation with risk and welcomes critical feedback so he can expand his knowledge base, improve techniques, and identify areas for improvement in his approach to farming. So with that today, I think we are ready to jump right into watching the first section of our video. We'll begin by watching the visions and goals section, as well as the animal grazing and feeding practices section. From there, we'll jump into breakout sessions where our breakout room moderators will kind of help prompt some questions and encourage some conversation between all of us so that we can come up with some ideas for Nick as we can provide that feedback for him. And then throughout the day, we'll have a section of time, as you guys saw on the agenda, for some question and answers with Nick, and then some further breakout sessions, as well as another chance to see some more videos. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and begin sharing one more time. This time we will begin the video. What I would like to make sure is that everybody is muted at this point, just so that we don't end up with some extra additional noise in the background.
I'm Nick Weinstock. I run Bottle Farm out of Ashford, Connecticut. Started about 6 years ago. Well, I guess a little bit longer story is it was me and my wife had a slow chase for higher quality food, and that expanded to finding a CSA and joining a CSA. And then that made us focus on the meat side of things. Found a local farmer who was doing pasture-based pork, and she showed me around her farm one day and spent like 2.5 hours showing me the farm and showing me what she does. And at the end of it, I said, "Thank you, that was awesome. I just wasted 2 hours of your day. Can I help you finish? You were moving fencing. Can I help you finish what you're doing?" And she said, absolutely. She never turned me down once. And that is where I learned. And about 1.5 years into that, decided we wanted to start farming up here in Connecticut. We're on 41 acres of land, split by the Mount Hope River, which is a stream that runs through the area, roughly 20 acres and 20 acres, or give or take there or so. So we're utilizing the close 20 acres. That's on a northwest portion of a drumlin. So we've got a lot of water flow, a lot of really great soils towards the top and really poor soils towards the bottom. About 3.5 acres at this point of open fields. The rest of the 20 or so that are inside my perimeter fence are woodlot that I'm slowly clearing out to be a silvopasture setup. So it's by no means silvopasture at this point, but it's transitional silvopasture. That's what I like to consider it. We're also converting some of our upper field back to a silvopasture too. We've got mostly apple trees, but an assorted fruit trees. The far 20 acres we're not doing anything with yet. Our initial business plan said we'd be growing all of our own supplemental feed we need over there, but realistically, now that I'm into farming, that's not happening. But that means I've got room to expand our grazing at some point. Vision for the farm, one, to see a profitable farm in the future is absolute main vision. I love working with the animals and moving them and dealing with them, but the more things I can make efficient and work, the faster I can get to building more infrastructure. I love it. That's what I do, is think about and tinker with and how to make this better and more efficient. So I would be looking to reinvest that back into the farm some way. At the same point, educating others that you can actually do this on smaller scale. We don't want to get huge. We don't need to make it this massive, super productive thing. I just want to get good, high quality product out to people, showing them that they can do it the right way. Finishing up the miscellaneous infrastructure, the farm well, water line, the road, even finishing my barn. Converting a lot of our customers over the next few years from off-farm sales to on-farm sales is huge. As seeing a sustainable way. Basically, if I got to do an off-farm day for a market, that kills a day plus of packing, prepping, going to market, setup, the market, unpacking, and then what do I barely need to do to get the farm survivable. There's no extra time on those days. So converting those customers back over to on-farm sales is key, and our plan for that is slowly convert at the end of season, having enough product to finish the season with to continue to say, hey, just because the season's done doesn't mean you have to be done buying from me. Come to the farm. We're always open. Call and schedule an appointment. So when we moved in, not only was there no infrastructure, but the fields were garbage. Heavily multiflora rose, autumn olive, poison ivy. It all still exists out there. So just with animal control, we've converted over to a very diverse grass for sedge, a lot of orchard grass, and a lot of red clover, a little bit of white clover, a little bit of timothy. I did a lot of seeding early on, frost seeding with timothy, but then after realizing my soil pH was super low, that's not going to come up, I stopped. So I no longer seed in timothy until I can get that under control. I am liming is the only thing I'm adding to my fields besides the animals. And I do that in the fall. I've been putting it on about 1.5 tons per acre by hand. It's a lot of work, but it's getting done, and we're slowly seeing the changes as we go, and we're slowly seeing the species convert to what we want in that process. Mostly animal welfare certified. Our sheep and goats are already certified, and our pigs and chickens are having their audit next week. So very soon for everything on farm. And yeah, we base ourselves on rotational grazing of all of our animals, but especially the sheep and goats out in the fields and the pigs in the woods for the most part, and chickens follow everybody. So our animal welfare certified animals are Kiko goats. They're full-bred Chicos on pasture. Our Icelandic sheep, mostly purebred with a little bit of Shetland mixed in, very little bit, so I don't focus on that. So they're rotationally grazed, intensively managed on pasture. And we're raising them mostly for meat, although we do pull fiber off of the sheep. We turn the fiber into socks that we resell at markets, and all the lambs that we harvest, we pull hides off of. So grass-fed, grass-finished. They are, during the summer, grass only. We use alfalfa pellets as treats. During the winter, they are on hay, and we supplement about 1 pound a day at most with a fermented alfalfa silage, alpha hay. And then we've got mixes of pigs. So our sows are Mangalitsa Berkshire crosses, and then we AI with large black. And they're rotationally grazed in the woods for the most part, but do overlap into the fields. And then we do about 100 to 150 layers of assorted heritage older breeds. I get them into areas where I really need pasture improvement. The chickens are just very time consuming. I pull them around in a 30-foot camper that has been completely gutted and modified for them. So they are mobile. Their infrastructure is mostly attached to that. Their water is separate. They bring people to the farm. They get people hooked. People love the eggs. It's extremely high quality. And then we eventually convert them, usually, to buying something else. So it's great in that aspect. Plus I look at chickens as I'm never going back to buying eggs in the store. It's just too good. So I'm always going to have 4 or 5 chickens, and how much additional work is 100. The pigs and the chickens are on a certified organic feed, even though we are not certified organic ourselves. We kind of believe in that sort of practice. They are also on a soy-free, corn-free, non-GMO feed. Well, of course it's non-GMO, it's certified organic. We wanted to say that we can farm without big industrial cropping, which really gets rid of soy and corn. I utilize the split that I have on the property between field and woods, or my conversion to silvopasture, a lot. So heat, drought, I've got the woody growth, I can put the small ruminants into the woods. If we got too much growth in grass, I can move my pigs from the woods onto the grass to help keep up. With the setup I have and gates everywhere, I can really push animals in any direction and get them to any point on the farm in a matter of an hour. So I look at it that way, and because I've got so much flexibility with where I can put animals, and they don't just have to follow a very uniform path and, okay, maybe take them a day or 12 hours, I can move them across the farm. I don't find planning a year out or a full growing season is useful at all. So I plan 30 days out, usually at most. I have a general idea of once they hit this field, they're going to most likely finish the loop. If I need to slow them down, I can throw them into the woods, or I can always cut across. But for the most part, they're going to finish the loop. That gives me roughly 2 weeks. Typically 24 hours move, although sometimes 6 hours, sometimes 12 hours. Last week I did a 4-hour move. I really look at the pasture itself and see what it needs. I rarely go longer than 24 hours unless I intentionally made a very large paddock. And yeah, we'd never come back to a pasture quicker than 30 days, mainly for parasite issues, but that also definitely helps with grass growth. And usually it's closer to the 40, 45 day, but that varies depending on season and time.
All right, so at this point, we're going to actually stop the video at the moment, and we're going to jump into breakout rooms to talk about some of the things that we just saw at Nick's place and come up with some thoughts and have some discussions. So give me just a second, and I will get our breakout room. All right, hi everybody. I'm sorry. I hope that the last breakout session didn't cut too abruptly for folks, but that was about 20 minutes. Time sure does fly when we're having fun, I guess. I think what we'll do now is we'll jump into, because I know in the breakout session I was in, we were kind of in the middle of conversation, but we've allotted some time in the agenda to allow for some question and answers for Nick. So is there anything that came up in your breakout sessions that you want to talk with Nick directly on? We're going to stay as a large group here, and certainly feel free to unmute yourself and speak up, and I'll turn it over to who that first brave person is. If there isn't anybody who has any strong desires to say much, I know that Sam, Jen, and Jim may have some thoughts on
Scott has
some
his hands up.
questions.
Yeah, I had a question. Hey, Jim.
Hi, sir.
When we were looking at the video, I noticed some silver pasture, but there was no vegetation. You know, a lot of trees, brush down. Is that something that is that next project, or is that used for protection? So when your animals are out there, they have cover, they have protection. It's not open field.
Great question. Yeah, that's why it's not, I don't like calling it silvopasture. I do like to call it transitional silvopasture. I am nowhere close to it being a silvopasture yet. The trees that are down, I mainly just drop trees to get my internal fencing installed quickly. And my goal every year is to attempt to clean up 1 or 2 of these internal paddocks, get the trees cleaned up, chipped up, and opened up. In the meantime, it is awesome protection. My pigs use it for pretty much all of their shelters. I do provide additional portable stuff just to meet our AWA standards, but it's a great protection as is, but eventually will come out. So yeah, most of the transitional silvopasture areas have just started to open the tree canopy up. I haven't done a lot of cleanup on the ground, and I did just start to seed, so I am seeing this year for the first time grass come up in those paddocks.
Nick, there's a question that came through in the chat that asks, why did you select the livestock breeds that you chose?
A pile of reasons, mostly hardiness. So the Kiko goats are super hardy, um, great mothering skills, pretty hands off. I don't need to touch them or really do anything with them, even though they do come through a handling system once a month for health checks. The sheep, Icelandics, honestly, I didn't ever intend to have sheep on pasture, but my farming uh, mentor had to get out of farming quickly, and that's what she had. And I really liked what she was doing, so I ended up with a pile of her breed stock. And they're also really great mothers, really good meat quality, the Icelandics. Um, the pork is, we really wanted that heritage Mangalitsa breed in there. So finding the easiest to get Mangalitsa already had Berkshire mixed in. Those were my sows. And the large blacks are just awesome pigs in general. So I really wanted a lot of large black in there. They're great all around, definitely on the large side of pig. So that's why AI with large black.
Nick, another question that came up in the chat. Can you talk about how close your markets are? How far do people need to drive to you to get to your farm store?
Yeah, we do 3 markets. Each are between 20 minutes and 40 minutes from us, kind of in different directions. And we do that every other week. We're at each one of those markets. And because we sell a frozen product, we hope people understand that we're not going to be there for 2 weeks and can stock up instead of hitting them every week. And that seems to have worked so far. Most of our customers, because we are doing soy-free, corn-free feed, actually drive quite a distance to meet us. Our typical egg customer is driving in once a month from about an hour away to buy 16 dozen eggs. That's pretty typical for us. So, hopefully converting more of those people to buying more than just eggs, buying meat too. But
Nick, a question for you was, are you able to be profitable at the scale that you're at, or would you need to scale up in order to hit your profitability goals?
Everything this year looks like we're going to be profitable for our first time this year. We came really close last year. We're just about $3,000 shy of profitable, and this year we're looking really good to be uh, decently profitable, and then yeah, certainly next year even more.
Can you talk about what changed then between last year and this year?
Ooh, um, a scale up on the number of pigs, certainly a scale up on sheep and goats. I did start with a very low number of sheep and goats and have been building the flock internally. So we've only actually harvested 2 goats total off of our flock. So last year we were able to harvest a bit more. This year we're going to be harvesting quite a bit more. So I'm anticipating those profits. So goats have been a loss since then. Same with pork. We've really found ways to move the miscellaneous cuts that don't normally sell. We try to utilize the whole animal and doing additional processing on those odd cuts, ears and skin and fat and bone, and turning them into lard and bone broth and ear jerky for dogs. We've been able to move those products too, which certainly helps with profitability. We're also, now that I've got a lot more infrastructure in place, it took a lot of money to get that infrastructure in place. So we're not putting as much out this year in infrastructure. So that certainly helps not eating into profits.
Can I add a follow-up question to Sam's, Nick? Can you describe what you mean by profitability? Do you mean covering your direct costs, or do you mean paying yourself?
I knew you were going to ask that at some point.
I'm sorry, I have to ask that question.
At this point in time, yes, I am not paying myself. So that would be covering costs and basically reinvesting the profits back into the farm. Since actually you and me have talked, I started tracking my time on a very detailed basis, just with an app. So I at least am gathering data for future of how much time I am spending on each individual animal or type of project on the farm. So hopefully we can get those numbers in there at some point.
Scott's got another question.
Yeah, Nick, when you started out, how did you reach your market? I have Scottish Highland cows. It's unique. The meat is unique. It's not, and it's not for everybody. It's a little different taste. I don't do farmers markets. You know, it's just hard. You have to, transport and do everything else. How do you get, and what did you use to get people to come to you?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, we definitely jumped on social media early. I hate using it, but it seemed to be necessary. Um, Having a really good functional website that was very detailed also certainly helped. And just it was a very slow process to get people to buy initially, but once they tried the product, there's no turning back. So yeah, we didn't do. Last year was our first year doing farmers markets. Up until that point, we were selling good enough from farm, and that was really just word of mouth and social media presence. Going to a few local events here or there, just get your farm name out there. Not even bring a product, but that type of stuff, just so people can talk to you. But yeah, as soon as people start trying it, it spreads quickly. They tell their friends, they tell their neighbors. It's a unique product that tastes really good, so they want to share it. We also accidentally tapped into that allergen market with soy-free and corn-free, and that really grew. Not many people are doing corn-free. A lot are doing soy-free. So I actually usually know when the farm in Florida is sold out of corn-free eggs because I start getting calls from Florida numbers, seeing if I will ship, but I'm pretty against shipping.
How do you get into that corn-free market?
I think that was just our website.
Okay.
We advertise that that's what we do. We specialize. We wanted to get away from that corn-free or get away from industrial farming as much as possible, the big government subsidies. So we advertised that we were corn-free and soy-free, and it hit enough search engines, I guess, that made it work, and people found us. So.
I do the same. It's just grass,
Yep.
hay, and water. No corn, no supplements. No, but that's our market also. I'm trying to figure out how to break into it, and what are the techniques. Limited success.
Yeah, have people try your product is the best answer I can get it into their mouth one way or another.
Thank you.
We have just about another minute before we're going to view another that video. So if there's anybody who has one last question, we can take it now.
Unless someone else has one, I can give you something that came up from our group. Oh, sorry, Sarah had one in the chat. I'll default to that.
Sarah's question was, do you utilize social media as a marketing tool?
I utilize social media. I mean, it is a marketing tool. That's the only reason I use it. I really don't like it otherwise. I do try to post on it. I don't post very regularly, and my spelling is horrible, so I have to have my wife read all my posts before I actually post them, so that makes it even that much more difficult. So I've just gotten into the habit of posting something, just even if it's a picture and no more words or very little information, that gets enough people to follow it. We've got a handful of followers, 400 some on Instagram and about the same on Facebook. I'm not sure we really generate much traffic to actual purchases. I think they're all existing customer type people and other farmers.
Great. I should share too that we are moving Nick around in breakout rooms. So if he wasn't in yours, he will likely pop up into yours in one of these next upcoming ones. So I think what we'll do at this point is go back to viewing the last section of the video, and then we'll jump again into a breakout room and have some more conversation. So just bear with me here, and we will see the rest of that film. And again, just before I click the play, if we can all make sure that we are muted, that will be very helpful in letting everybody hear everything.
Water infrastructure is huge. I would do that absolutely immediately first. I started out up until a few weeks ago, I was using 275-gallon totes, and that's just destroying my road, and seeing that that's going to take a lot longer to actually get put in. Water infrastructure is huge. So our farm road is shown on a pile of maps back from the early 1800s. It used to be a mill down at the river. When we got here, it was an overgrown, could barely walk through it, path through the woods. So we've opened it back up, but it's just too wet and too not a road to actually get my tractor down. Working with NRCS to put in a legit gravel road that will get access back there. And at that point, I can move animals, equipment, feed back and forth down the main farm road. As we look at a map of the farm, you'll see that's a main corridor through my property to move everything through. Probably followed by an animal handling system. We actually got a FACT grant, Food Animal Concerns Trust, 2 years ago. Every time the animals pass through the center area of the farm, the barn, they run through the handling system. So about every 30, 45 days, I get them on a scale. I get them through hands-on every single animal, hoof trimming, checking, body condition scoring, FOMACHA scoring, fecal egg counts if we're doing them that month. It's a great system to get them all through. And we can also use that as our sorting system when we're weaning or sorting for slaughter or whatever other means we need to sort. We can sort out different directions once they leave the system in the barn. We actually got a grant for these too. The shelters behind me, the farmer I started with, we did a similar size shelter, but it was all out of hoop house and tarps. And I decided I don't want to rebuild my shelters every year. She was building them 2 or 3 times a year. Every time a storm rolled by, let's go find the shelter. Where is it and what damage does it have? I want to build it once, ever. So they're a bit heavier and a bit harder to move, but thinking other ways to do it than the simple way. I love looking at the fencing and how I approached it. We've put in almost a mile of perimeter fence, 4,800 linear feet, surrounding just about 20 acres. We've put in over a mile of interior fencing, breaking that up into roughly half to 1 acre paddock sizes for the most part through the woods. You know, NRCS designs fences and says this is how fences should be done, and it's high tensile wire and this and that, and on wooden posts driven this far apart with this type of end bracing. And I look at it and say, well, that's going to be really expensive. How can we rethink this design and redo this? So I'm on T-posts, which I can do myself. I don't need equipment. They're galvanized. They're going to last forever. I built a 100-year fence is the way I like to look at it. I'm solid panel. I'm electric inside and out. I'm using insulators that are a combination of fencing insulators and construction galvanized wire ties that we would use in rebar construction. So you're just looking at it differently. My background is in construction project management, which has a lot to do with what I do on the farm and the ways I look at things on the farm differently than someone with the institutional knowledge of farming. My wife is a PhD scientist, so she loves to look at the numbers. Well, we both love to look at the numbers, but she can really crunch the numbers and look at the data and look at the science behind some of our practices. Our primary record-keeping software is FarmOS right now. It's an open source software. You can pay for it to be hosted for you, or you can host it yourself, which is what I'm doing, and then it's free. It has all of our moves, all of our feed, all of our harvests, eggs, meat, soil sampling. We get records on forage testing, both in the field and from our hay. We wanted numeric values so we can track over time, body condition, which everybody uses a body condition score. We kind of made up our own. If we can get a number for it, we record it. How can you make educated decisions if you don't have the data to go with it? So I am the labor for the most part of the farm. This is my full-time job. My wife does have a off-farm job, but she is in the house. So if something does arise, emergency, whatnot, I can sometimes grab her away. I do get occasional farm help throughout the year. I've got a really close friend and a brother-in-law who comes down and runs a sawmill that we have on the property. So we can really work on some larger infrastructure projects. We've got a whole, as part of our animal welfare approved, we've got a whole almost 40-page management, health, and contingency plan that we have to have written as part of that. Certainly if I get sick short-term, small injuries, my wife can easily step in, take personal time off or sick time off that she needs to step in. She knows generally what's going on and is capable of doing everything on the farm. We try to set up a lot of systems fairly automated as much as possible to ease the day-to-day regular activities as easy as possible. We'll take the chickens, for example. Even though I hate dealing with them, their coop door opens in the morning, it closes at night. It's bulk feeders. I'm realistically feeding once every 4 or 5 days. Their water, it's an 85-gallon water for 100 chickens. I've got weeks of water. So realistically, if I get injured or something happens, like the farm can kind of run itself with someone going and checking. And obviously, as much time as can be inputted to rotating the animals, that would slow down. Yeah, thanks for doing this and looking forward to feedback from everybody. I'm sure there's a lot I'm not doing right or can be improved upon. So very interested in seeing what people say and how I can do better.
All right, so that is the last of the video from Nick's farm. At this point, we're going to jump back into our breakout sessions and do some more chatting and have some more conversation. And then we'll come back out of that, and our breakout room moderators, Jen Colby, Sam Corcoran, and Jim Hyde, will be providing us with some of that feedback that we all came up with within our breakout rooms. So we are just a little bit behind, so welcome back, everybody. We're going to move at this point into our section of the agenda where we've had our breakout rooms and our discussions about Nick's place, and our moderators are going to do the best job they can to kind of wrap up and give some feedback to Nick on some of the different things that were discussed within the breakouts, things that he could work towards, things that are unique to him that he's doing really well, and anything in between. So Jim, Sam, Jen, would anybody like to volunteer your thoughts first?
I don't mind going. I feel like there's some really great things that came up in the course of the conversation. So just going to hit some highlights if that's cool. Let's see. So one of the suggestions that came up for marketing was to consider doing an online store where it's not necessarily requiring people come to the farm, but it's also not farmers market. We did hear you say that you don't love shipping, but maybe there's a direct delivery option. So that was one suggestion, and it included the recommendation or suggestion of the What's Good app as a mechanism to do that. There was also an
Can I just jump in with conversation about that? I think sure. this is a really good thing. I tried an online store. Everything, our inventory system is built on Square, so I tried their Square online store because it was easy. People can't follow directions. Like, they do the online store, they place an order, and they're here on my doorstep 10 minutes later, where it says multiple places, don't show up until you're contacted. It's going to be at least a 2-day window. And I've tried changing so many things that we've pulled the online store off because people can't follow pickup instructions. So I would love to do that.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe we could strategize with you about ways to train people to do this properly.
Would absolutely love to.
I feel like just having designated store hours would help. Like, at least for me, I'm way more likely to show up at specific store hours than to book an appointment and then actually show up on time.
So there's that. So one of the other suggestions that came up was around silvopasture conversion and potentially bartering with someone who is a logger to get you a little bit more clearance a little faster than you might be able to do it. Maybe be able to do that in a way that didn't cost you money, but also saved your time if there's a forester or logger who could come in and just do some of that for you. Let's see. We just touched on this, but I'll just say it out loud as well. Thinking about valuing your time differently for the different tasks, because you are tracking, but the time has different values too. And then the last thing, I recognize we said 1 to 3, Rachel, but I have a fourth one that just came up too. So we were just talking in this last session about instructions for other folks and how challenging it is for written instructions to stay like they're working because things change so much. What some farmers in that I've met have been doing is actually videoing instructions. And so that can be done. That's like that's a 5-minute thing while you're saying, this is how I do it. And that can actually be really helpful because it's really hard to write written instructions that actually do all the things that we want them to do. And it takes a really long time to do that. And then they're obsolete as soon as you print the paper. But a video can be a way to have other people do what you do in the way that you do it, and be able to capture it quickly. So that's just that thought.
I can go next.
Thanks. Go ahead, Sam.
So Nick, I'm gonna one of our pieces of a thought that came up was the same with if there could be some way of doing some self-ordering online and pickup. And I realized that you had trouble with that, obviously. I wonder, and obviously it involves more investment in tech, but maybe could you have like a locker with a code on it, and the code changes daily, and only the 5 people picking up that day have it, and so then at least if someone steals, you've narrowed your pool down, your criminal suspects. So great. So are there other ways to work around that doesn't require you to actually be there to make that available to that person? One recommendation, and Nick, I know you've heard this, but invest in a spreader for your lime. The by hand, we know, is a lot of work. And then the other thought that we were sort of talking about at the end that I think was a big one, was for your contingency plan, having a plan to go on vacation. So if you aren't there and Danielle isn't there, could you open up your paddocks to be a little bit bigger? You have this great perimeter fence, nothing gets in or out. So could you have like a family friend who doesn't have to actually really do anything hands-on, but could they just come by and check on things, and to also prevent farmer burnout?
It's a great idea. I do have a family friend, but if I'm going on vacation, I usually want her bring her along. That's the hard part. But yeah, I understand at some point I'm gonna want to leave the farm for something. Not yet though.
Thank you, Sam. Do you have anything else? Okay. Jim, do you want to give a quick summary of your group and what comments came out from your session?
Yeah, we've got maybe 3 or 4 things here. We spent a little bit of time talking about equilibrium. Nick was on the session, so he was able to help answer this question, but just talking about, is there equilibrium, and talking about reaching your goals. It always seems like there's new goals. There is mention of short-term and long-term goals. The goals are constantly changing. Production goals from year to year, growing the different markets, and finding that balance between the production and sales. So there's just some questions and discussion on finding the equilibrium in terms of setting goals. And then not too much conversation on or additional conversation on the marketing, but I guess I'll admit that some of the things that really caught my attention were the allergy market, corn-free and soy-free, and then something that hasn't been mentioned too much, but the animal welfare standards. That maybe if there could just be a quick explanation on that and some of the things that that entails. That is something that does get some attention from some of the customers. Customers and drive-bys. If people are driving by, there's been some funny things that happen from concerned citizens when they see animals standing in the snow, for example. So maybe that would be just a quick conversation. And then I'll use this as the last one. There was a really good question about something that Sam had just touched on here about so impressed with the off-farm experience that you're bringing on-farm and the perspective that you have. We were imagining from your construction experience. And then so the system that you set up is extremely impressive. It's very fascinating the way that you've gotten all this stuff to work, and it sounds like you've got a really good system. The question was, is that system teachable to someone else? So if you needed the short-term or the long-term solution, is this something that somebody else could pick up and run with? Or is this something that somebody could implement on their farm?
You want me to touch on that?
Sure. Yeah, if we could touch maybe just those two things. Is this scalable to other farms and the AMA?
Yeah, scalable to other farms, absolutely. I look at all these projects differently, coming into it differently. I mean, you look at my the fencing system per se, it's extremely complicated, but I've built it from scratch, so I understand. I get a very good understanding how it works in my mind, but trying to draw that out is difficult. But I've been able to show people on the farm, okay, these are all the switches, this is how it goes together, and this is way overcomplicated for an electric fence system, but you certainly can do it. I've got isolated lines, so my bottom lines are isolated, my inside, my outside are isolated. Even the water system, I've got a fairly complicated how to turn the water on. There is an override system of just turning a valve on or off. So it is complicated. It's unorthodox how I'm putting this stuff together, but it's very teachable for someone who has at least a little bit of the mechanical knowledge and understands how these systems work in the first place, can look at it from an outside sort of way. But it's not like I'm doing magic here or something super difficult. It's all pretty straightforward once you get your mind wrapped around it. The animal welfare stuff. So basically, it is what it is. It's saying that it's a third-party verification system that we are following some of the world's highest standards of welfare for animals, and that's birth through slaughter program. Well, pre-birth, it's even the parents of the animal and their condition up to it. So I can't really buy in feeding stock or anything like that, and it goes all the way through their lifespan, through the butcher. The slaughterhouse is part of that system. They are also audited. We were kind of following most of the standards anyway, and we got a grant for working on some of actually to get the animal handling shelter, saying that we're going to work towards getting full AWA certified. And we realized we didn't have much to change. We had a little bit to change with our pigs, so we had to hold off on that. That's why we didn't get certified all at once. But for us, it was a lot of paperwork that we had in place because we kept great records. And besides that, and a few minor changes here and there, it was pretty easy for us to get. It's also very affordable as far as a third-party certification. It's only $200 a year or something like that, and that includes them coming out to do a full audit. So I don't know that we've seen a lot of people who see what that is and even know what it is enough that it's drawing attention, but it's certainly something that we can hang up on our farm sign and that we bring to markets, and it starts a conversation, and we can go from there. But I don't know that the brand itself has that much recognition besides that. So.
Great. Well, thank you Thank you, Nick, for expanding on some of those thoughts. I hope that some of the feedback that we were able to give to you is at least useful, or at least gets you thinking about some different directions and different ways to approach things. Cool. So I know that, there could have been much more conversation, I'm sure, but I appreciate you all jumping on with us today. This is our last programming scheduled for this year. We'll be busy at work planning for next year, and also getting ourselves together a end of the year survey to send out to all of our participants from this year. So please certainly keep an eye out for that as we move towards the end of the year. Real quick, I just would like to put in the chat our end of the webinar survey, and the link should be there now. So if you could go ahead and connect to that, answer those couple questions, that would be much appreciated. And I just would like, as you guys are doing that, to remind everybody that we are always here, whether we're planning programming or not, we're always here. So certainly reach out at any time. I am happy to get you in contact with somebody who could answer your questions or have a conversation with you. That is one of our biggest goals, is to make sure that we connect everybody with the help and the resources that they're looking for. The other thing I'd like to do is give Sam a few minutes to give a little plug at a workshop that is coming up, that is put on by I guess several different groups, but the Cedar Tree Foundation, and I'll let you take it from there, Sam.
Thank you, Rachel. I just wanted 2 seconds, just a quick plug that in Plainville, Connecticut on Saturday, September 11th, we're going to have a hands-on fencing clinic. Wellscroft is going to be there. And then we're also going to walk the farmers. It's at Stonehill Farms existing fencing. Some was put in by NRCS. Some was designed by Wellscroft, and do some live time. This is how you troubleshoot. This is what's wrong. Here's how you fix it. So you can send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat box if you'd like the registration link, and there will be lunch provided as well. So it'll be good for whether you're a beginner and you don't have much fencing experience, or hopefully if you're more advanced and want to see some live time troubleshooting, there'll be a little bit for everybody. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that that was a lot coming at you guys in the last 3 minutes, but Sam did just put her email up, and Sam, if you could, or you had it handy, if you wanted to just post the link for the registration so that people had that to go to. I know you said there is limited seating, so if you're interested, it might be something to check out sooner rather than later. And again, if everybody can make sure that that you take a minute or two to complete the post-evaluation survey, I would appreciate that as well. And aside from that, I think that wraps up our webinar today. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day, everybody.
Rachel, should we stay on for a sec?
Sure, Jen, yeah.
No, it's fine. I don't have to. I was just kidding. Never mind. I didn't think you were gonna like debrief like we do sometimes. It's all good. It's all fine. It's all good. We're good.
I didn't think that far.
No. Have an awesome day.
I think we could probably just do that through email, but while I have
Totally
you, thank
fine.
you very, very much. I totally appreciate everything you've done this year. I'll give you a break and I'll leave you alone for a couple months now.
It's totally fine. It's been awesome. It's been so much fun. So thank you. And I did get some feedback with some maybe follow-up topics for Sarah to consider. So I will zip those to you in an email right now before I get up from my computer.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I will likely not do much in the next couple minutes, but by this afternoon I'll probably send out some more emails and you'll see all those, everything that I'll CC you on everything.
Oh, that's fine. That's all good. I just want to make sure
All
you
right,
had it. It's out of my
sounds good.
brain. Thank you. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen.
You bet.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.